Hey everybody, welcome to Live Coding with Jesse. I'm Jesse, and on this stream, you all get to have a glimpse inside my day as a front-end developer at a small university. So I do my best to narrate as I work, and I take some time to do a question and answer session. So usually we do Pomodoro sessions, so 25-minute sessions of code, take a 5-minute break for question and answer. We go back and forth like that until the end of the stream, and then I answer all the questions that are left over. Sometimes that takes a while, sometimes it doesn't. But today we're going to continue what we had started yesterday, which is doing some styling to our React project using the latest version of MaterialUI. So MaterialUI is a framework for a framework of React components that fit with the material design style. So if you're familiar with pretty much any of the apps that Google has come out with the exception of maybe a few of the older ones, then you've seen the material design style. Let's see. I want to start out first with a pull request. So I received a pull request just a few minutes ago. I don't know, maybe 10 minutes ago or so, from Sebastian. So I thought it might be cool to start with that pull request. So I'll just go through how I normally review pull requests. Usually in the morning I come in and review any pull requests. So I don't know that I've actually gone over that process on the stream. So I haven't even looked at this pull request yet. I don't know what's in it or how big it is or anything. So this will be exactly my normal routine when I see that there's a pull request. So let's go. Oops. Let me give you the ngrok URL. So if you want to see the site as we're working on it and be able to see it in your browser and use your own dev tools, check out that link that I just put in the live chat. I may paste it in there a little bit later on for anyone who's joining us later. So remind me remind me a little bit later on to paste it again if I forget. And failed to complete tunnel connection. Okay, so it didn't work. What's going on here? Oh, okay. You know what? I changed the. Let me paste a different one in. I didn't realize I changed the local host, so I need to do it again. So I restarted I installed the latest Mac OS update and restarted it. And when I did, all my local servers that I had running shut down. So when I went to run this again, it ran it by default on localhost 3000 instead of 3001. So that's where the problem came in. So I'm restarting it now with the correct port, and this link should now work. Okay, good. It looks like it's getting a lot of status 200 OKs here in the console on my other screen. So that's working. Let's go to I don't know why it's not pulling in any data, so we'll take care of that soon, but for right now I want to go over pull requests. So first I'll go to GitHub. Let me make this a bit bigger and increase the font size so you all can see what's going on. So usually I come in here and I don't know why. I'm not sure why I didn't get a notification about that. Usually I have a notification up here. So that's weird, because I did get the email. I guess I could double check. Yeah, I did get the email about it. So for whatever reason I didn't get a notification this time, but normally it will notify you if someone submits a pull request to your repository. But we'll just go in. Where is this? Bulletin. Might have to check out. Here we go. It's down here. So we'll go into this bulletin React. Oh man, I just got a Slack message from one of my coworkers. I stopped at the grocery store on my lunch break and picked up a bunch of cinnamon rolls, and she said she just heated one up in the microwave and it's amazing. Now I'm going to be thinking about that during the whole stream. Alright, so let's go to pull requests, and here's pull request number 3 from Sebastian, and let's check it out. I love that refactorization. Alright, so usually I just kind of go through what was said. It looks like this will be a small pull request, only one file change. So when I go through whatever the person who submitted the request says, then I check out the files. Okay, just in general, it's easier to merge in a smaller pull request. I appreciate pull requests of all sizes, but occasionally, if I get a really big pull request, if I like 75% of it, and it's awesome, but there's 25% that I'm not sure about, sometimes I don't really want to pull the entire thing in. So if it was broken up into smaller requests, I could just pull in what I need. So keep that in mind when you're submitting to really any repositories. I think you have a better shot at getting your pull request merged if it's smaller and more focused, because it's less likely to cause merge conflicts and take the repository maintainer a really long time to go through. Okay, so this is in the post preview, and let's see what's changed. It's just a refactor, so it should still have the same functionality. So it looks like link. It looks like it's just cleaned everything up, made it a bit smaller here. So that looks good. Actually, this is straightforward enough that I could just merge it right here, but since we're kind of demonstrating this, I'd like to show you how I would go about testing it. So let's go back to the terminal. I'll make this a bit bigger. So on a small pull request like this, where I could very clearly see all the lines of code, I would probably just merge it right there in GitHub, because it's just so obvious what that code does. But if it's bigger and I really want to test it out first, then I'll go into my my project. So let's see if I need. Oh man, Xcode. Whenever you install an Xcode update, it always messes things up. You have not agreed. You must agree to both. Hit the enter key. Alright. Alright. Agree. Alright, awesome. Okay. So, has anybody ever read that whole thing? I have never read it. That's not even in English, so I guess it's not really that long, right? Anyway. Alright, so I'm just checking the status to make sure we don't have anything that's uncommitted that on this branch. So we don't. And then now I'm going to go git fetch origin and git fetch origin pull, and then I'm going to put the number of the pull request, which in this case is 3. And then now I'm going to name this last part after the colon is what I'll name the branch. So I'm just going to say S refactor. I'm just saying S refactor because it's Sebastian, and so far there's only one person whose name starts with S that's submitted a pull request. If I had more people, I would probably come up with something better. Oh no, I got to do this again since I restarted. Alright, so let's, on my other screen, I'm going to get my my key. Let's see. So I don't know this offhand. I have it saved in LastPass. Secure notes. Okay, let's put that in there, and then I'm going to do SSH add, and that way it won't keep asking me for it. So if you have this happen and you have to keep putting in your passphrase, just do run SSH add and then put your passphrase in, and it'll stay in there. For me, it stays in there until I restart. There's probably some way to make it stay in there all the time, but I don't know, maybe it's better if you don't have it stay in there all the time, just in case somebody gets into your computer. Okay, so now let's go with, I guess it already works, so now we'll go git checkout s refactor. Okay, so now we have that pull request number 3 locally on our machine, and we can test it out. Now at this point, you'd want to remember if any packages have been added, then you'd want to update. So you'd just run yarn, or or if you're using npm, you could do that. But we don't have any new packages added, so now we're just going to check it out, see what it looks like. Since this didn't add any new features, it should be fine. Basically, what I'm looking for. Let's see why this is not loading. Network. That's weird. Let's go into the code. Make sure I saved. That's interesting. It should be working. Let's go to. We'll need that up. This is where it's at. No. Test one. Make sure the site's okay. So the site is up. Let's go. Let's go into the admin panel and see what's going on. Alright, so we have GraphQL. I did go back to the older version. Oops. And I just remembered I forgot to set my timer, so I'm just going to keep an eye on this. Probably once we hit close to 3 o'clock, I'll take a 5-minute break. And we'll do some question and answer stuff. So if you're asking questions right now, I'm going to get to it. Probably in about 10 to 15 minutes, I'll check the live chat and get to the questions. Okay. Oh, okay. So Blake says it is working on ngrok. Okay, let me try that out then. Let's see if it'll work. Wow, it is. Okay, so I'm not sure what the problem is locally. Okay, so for now I'm just going to look here just to test it out, and then we'll worry about whatever's going on locally in a minute. So I'm just going to go in and click. We only have a few views available. Basically, when I test out, at this point it's really simple. We don't have any testing set up, so when I want to test it out, I go through and just check the views and see if we're getting errors. Unhandled error, syntax error. So we are getting some errors, but I doubt that this is related to the pull request. We can double check by going back to master and see if it's still there. Okay, let's see. Let's see if we get this error everywhere. This is the right place, right? Oops. Actually, that wasn't the right one. That was still the local. Okay, so something's wrong with my local host, and then this. Okay, great. So this works without any errors here on ngrok. So that's cool. Now at this point, we could merge from the command line. And if I would do that, normally I would merge in the master branch into this pull request branch first, test it out again, and then merge everything into master. But I think let's check and see in GitHub if we can merge this without any conflicts. Okay, so no conflicts. So what I'm going to do is just merge right here because it's easier to just press that big green button. So like I said, I would only do this on very small pull requests where you could see what's changed and it's obvious. Otherwise, would definitely test and merge from the command line. And let's confirm that. All right, awesome. So I know Sebastian's watching right now, but I still like to say thank you to everyone that submits a pull request. So thanks, Sebastian. And also, yeah, I'm okay with this. So Sebastian's asking if I'm okay with it and to start refactoring other components. Yeah, I think that's awesome. Let's go. It was, let me check again, post preview, that was it. Yeah, so in the post preview, it looks great. Oops, I didn't actually pull it down. It's going to look even better. So let's go git checkout master git pull to bring in those changes. Alright, so now we have that locally. Now let's check out post preview. Okay. Here's our post preview. Oh, actually, no, it was the same thing because we weren't on the master branch. Never mind. I don't know what I was thinking. Okay, so anyway, so Sebastian, that looks great. If you want to refactor some of the other components, then that would be awesome too. Yeah. So, yeah, let's do take another like 5 or 6 minutes, do some more styling, and then we'll do our question and answer. Okay. So let's go back here. Actually, first what we should do is get this working. I could just run off the ngrok one, I guess, so I'm going to give it maybe like 2 minutes to try to figure this out. If we can't, I'll just do everything off of ngrok, but I would like to see why, because yesterday this was working fine. So what are we getting? Error. Okay. See if we're getting. Okay. Syntax error. Where? check our all the clients. Okay. I think I'm probably not going to mess with this during the stream. I'm just going to do one last thing, and that is restart the server, because sometimes that just works, so it's worth a shot. I don't really think it'll work in this case, but it only takes a few seconds. Alright. Hey, and it worked. I can't believe it. Alright, let's refresh this. Wait, why is... Alright, get out of here. Let me pull the one that works over. So for some reason, it just didn't work in that tab. I don't know what's going on. Come on, go in. And it won't come up there. Alright, so are you serious? So I can get localhost to work in other tabs. But I can't get it to work here. That's insane. That's so crazy. I mean, watch this. What would cause that it will work here and not here? Alright, well, this is not a debug Chrome stream, so I'm not gonna mess with it. There we go. So I did a hard refresh and it worked, so I don't know whatever, it works. Let's just let's keep going. Oh, there we go. Blake had put in the live chat cache and I didn't see it yet. So yeah, honestly, those two things probably solve more problems: restarting the server and clearing the cache. Oh well, I'm just glad it worked. Okay, so now let's take a 5-minute break and do questions, since I just took up the last 5 minutes just getting that to work. So I'm gonna bring over my timer and we're gonna do a 5-minute break. I'm gonna go through the live chat, then we'll do another 25 minutes of well, we're legit gonna do some styling now. Haven't really done much so far, but I think it was worthwhile to go through the pull request process. So I mean, if you've never hosted your own repository where people were submitting pull requests, then you may not have gone through that before. Okay, let's see. Okay, cool. So Sebastian says, in regard to the pull request, I read something about the previous pull request. He had issues with the new JavaScript syntax or something and wanted to test with just a file. If everything's okay, I'll do more. Okay, awesome. The PR did something weird with an on-click handler. I just used link. The read more button. Okay, so Sebastian's interested to see about what happens with the read more button. Yeah, definitely works. So yeah, I mean, if we're using React Router, then I think link is the way to go with that. So let's go to that post detail. Was that the one? No, was it post preview? That was it. Yeah, so link I would think we would want to use link, for every navigation. So I don't have the previous version to compare it to right now, but that's what I would have done. Also, in regard to that, the new JavaScript stuff. So we do have, because of the way we're using standard JS, sometimes when we have, I'm trying to find an example of functions. Okay, so alright, so like this, we have render post. So you'd get an error saying render post wasn't defined. So Harshit, when he submitted his pull request number 2, did this, right? He defined them here in the constructor function. But what I've been doing is instead not defining it in the constructor function. So I'll just give an example now. So we're going to take this out, and instead we're going to use an arrow function here. That will handle the binding of this, and then to handle the standard JS complaining about it, or whatever. I mean, ESLint's being used under the hood for that, so I don't know exactly what it is that's giving the error message about it. We're going to go to our package JSON, and then down here under our globals, I've been putting everything in globals. You can also do a similar thing right at the top of the file, but it's just easy to put everything right here. Then you could see right at a glance all the stuff. So you have to add a little bit either way. You either have to put something in the component, or you have to put something in here. I kind of prefer to just put one line here. If it got really huge, we could probably take this out, put it in another file if we wanted to, but our package JSON is not very big at all, so this works. And then we save ourselves, what was it, like 4 lines in here inside the component. So in here I would put render post, and we'll say, make sure you save both of those, and let's go, I'm just going to run lint so we can see. We shouldn't get an error. Yep, see, it ran through everything. We didn't get the error. But now I'm not, it's not loading again. That's going to be annoying. Okay. I should have the cache off, actually. Let's double check that in the settings. See where it is. There should be an option to disable caching when DevTools is open. Yep, disable cache. So that's on, so I'm not sure what's going on with that. I mean, we may just have to do a couple of hard refreshes. Okay. Hopefully that cleared up the whole issue with the errors coming from standard JS. Let's see. Kazim. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name. It's Qazim. So I'm going to say Kazim says hi from Kosovo. Hey, how's it going? Thanks for watching and joining in the live chat. And my 5 minutes is up, so I didn't get through everything that's in the live chat right now, but I will come back to where I left off. And after the next Pomodoro session, we'll do some more questions. Okay. So let's go. You know what? Let's add in. Let's make this actually, drop down with some options, and we'll add in a few other of the icons that we'll need here. And I like to work my way like from the top down. So we'll get this app bar, kind of how we want it, and also, actually, I think we'll go with the newer style that we've been doing on the last project, the last couple of projects, where we have the white with the gold underneath. So my boss really likes that. Looks clean. So let's do that. So we'll change up some of the styles here, add some icons, add a drop down, and then we'll throw in probably a logo here in the sidebar. And yeah, and then we'll see how long that takes. We might not even get all that done, but if we can get all that done, then maybe we'll work on more on this sidebar. Okay, so let's go into our theme, right? So yesterday we set up a MaterialUI theme, and I believe that was in our layout. Yes, so in our layout we actually have, so we brought in part of the theme here. So let's see how we want to do this. I don't know that I obviously don't want to make our primary color white. So what I'll do then is override our primary color just for that app bar. So for app bar, let's go with background color, and we'll use, oops, what is white? FFF? Yeah. It's amazing how you use a thing so many times, and occasionally you're just not sure about it. Okay. Alright, so that'll give us our white. So if you're following along with ngrok, you'll see that the white's right there. I have a second window of this open on my other screen, so I won't have to flip back and forth quite as much. So we have that, and now we want to do a bottom border. So border bottom. Why is that not? So we want to do solid 3 pixels. I think we were doing 3 pixels for that bottom border. We can double check at some point, but I think 3 will work. And we want our color to be, I can't remember it offhand. We'll have to grab it from an existing project. So let's see. I'm opening up our Resource Center project on the other screen just so that I can grab this this color. And it was 3 pixels, so that's good. Be consistent there. Oops. Okay. So we should see. Oh, oops! I forgot my comma. Okay, cool. So let's see. So right now you can see we have white with our gold underneath. Okay, so we're going to want to change our color of our icons and our. Let's see. What do we got? Let's see if we can just put a color property on the app bar. It might work. Might not be specific enough, but if it works, then that'll be great. Color, and so let's do 2A. Alright, let's see how that works. Oops, did I forget a comma again? Oh man. I've been forgetting commas frequently lately. Alright, great. So that at least worked for this. So we still need that icon to have a color, but that's good that it worked here. And while we're at it, I think I want to change up. I definitely want this to be a smaller font weight and perhaps just a little bit bigger. So let's change that. Let's go ahead. We can leave all those really small changes for another time. Let's get this. What did we say that? Those. I forget what that icon was called. Was it more vert? I think that's what it was. Let's get that more vert icon with the right color there. So I don't think we have anything for an icon in here. Let's see where we're actually putting that icon in. I don't remember putting anything. Color contrast. Okay, that's interesting. Color contrast. I want to actually. I kind of want to look up what it does there with color contrast. So let's check the material design documentation, or I'm sorry, MaterialUI. So we are using the version 1, and let's go to icons. Let me make this a bit bigger for everyone. Okay, icons. I guess it's not there. I know we had icons somewhere. There we go. Icons. What was that? Icon button? Icon. Oh, let's see what they have here. Let's try. Let's check out the button component then. Since we're actually using an icon button component, it may be here under buttons. Raise buttons. Icon button. Here we are. Okay, so this icon button. Oops, we're using class name, classes button, color. Okay, so color contrast. The shopping carts. Alright, let's see what our API is. So, color contrast, color component is using the theme palette when that makes sense. Oh, okay, so somewhere in the theme we define what the contrast color is, and then it's going to use that. Okay. So if we reset this to primary, it should pull that green color, which is what we want. So let's do that then. Oops. Primary. So I mean, we definitely could have just overrode this style, and it would have been a lot faster. But I mean, I think it's nice to work within, the way that the people who design MaterialUI, set that out. To work. It'll be a lot more consistent. That way, later on, if we decided to change our primary color, this would automatically change to correspond to it, which is kind of nice. Probably not going to change it, but it's nice to have it all linked up like that. So you can see now we have our icon, and let's see. So now let's. I'd really like to add the. Dropdown. I don't think I've used a dropdown yet from MaterialUI in any of our projects, so this will be cool. It'll be the first time to implement this on the stream. So let's go back to our documentation, and let me see. I forgot to reset my timer, so I'm just gonna have to look again. So we started this Pomodoro session around 3. So around 3:25, I'll just have to keep an eye on it. Okay, so where's our drop down? I still have to figure out what it's called here. It may not be called a drop-down. Maybe menu? Let's see what it is. Oops, I actually want the demo first so we can see it. Menu. Yep, that's what I want. Okay, so it's, I was calling it a drop-down, but it's really a menu. So there we go. This is, we won't need all these options, but that's kind of what I'm going for. When you click on this, then we get it. So let's just go with the simple example. And so we're going to need to grab import this, and let's see, menu item. Do we, okay, we are importing that as well. Great. So let's do that in our layout, because this is where we have that app bar. So at the top, let's pull in that menu. Whoops. Oh man, let me move this over. I'm accidentally clicking my mini map over here. That's why it sent me down there. Okay, so let's do that. And now right below, we'll put it right here below the icon button. Whoops. Or this icon button. That way we'll keep them together. I think it'll be easier to tell, you know, which is which here. Probably could break it out into another component, you know, this whole thing, but for now we'll leave it in there. We can always refactor later on. Let's see, here it is. Here's a menu. So I'm going to copy this all in, and we'll have to change a bit. Looks like we're going to have to copy in this as well. Okay, so here's our menu. Okay, and let's pull this in. And where are we at? Oops. All right. Save, and we'll need this button. We need our button to have these as well. Let's see, our icon button. We're gonna have a lot here, so let's bring these down just to help us read it. Alright, let's see if that'll work. Oops. And these aren't defined, so let's go ahead and put these in our package JSON. So what did we have? It's not defined. Handle click, handle request close. Now state should definitely be state should work. We have it in our package JSON, right? Yeah, we have it in there. That's weird. Handle. Was it handle click, and then whoops, there we go. And what's the other one? Handle request close, handle request close. All right, let's save that. See if we get, now that's odd. What did I mess up? Oh, actually, you know what? Yeah, that doesn't make sense because we weren't linting there. That was just a normal error. This handle click. Maybe did I paste this in the wrong spot? Let me see. Yep. All right. Thanks, Sebastian. It's I pasted it in the wrong place. What was I thinking? You gotta be kidding me. Wow. Alright, so we already have state. So let's bring in, shoot, we're gonna have to change that. So we don't want that to be open. So let's go open menu, and we'll change it down here to open menu. So let's select all this. Let's see. Whoops. There we go. Open menu. Alright. There we go. Now let's bring this in. And let's see if we have drawer opening request. Okay, it doesn't look like we're repeating anything. And then we also need to do within here, we need to make sure we say open menu. Okay. Alright. I think that should work now. We would have had to have added those to the package JSON at some point anyway, so hey, look at that. It works. Awesome. Okay, cool. So that wasn't too bad to implement. If I would have just pasted it into the right spot, it would have been even easier. Alright, awesome. So that works. We're not going to want all of these. We're going to keep logout. And then, actually, I don't remember what other options should be there. Let me check the time so I don't pass up the next. Okay, so maybe in about 7 minutes or so, we'll do our next question and answer session. So if you got any questions in the live chat and I haven't responded, I'm not ignoring you. I will definitely get to it in the question and answer session or at the end of the stream. Let's see. I'm just double checking here on my other screen what I want in that menu. What? Log me out. Actually, let me bring this over because I don't think I've shown how the login works. So this is currently how the login works, so the live version of the bulletin. So if the login data is not saved in local storage, it shows this screen. So I can type in. So I type in my email, jweigel@franciscan.edu. If I were to put in an email address that wasn't at franciscan.edu, it wouldn't let it go through. So even if you did something with DevTools and let it go through, it still wouldn't work. So it checks on the client side and server side. So when I submit this, I get a link sent to me. So, whoops, that's not it. Trying to pull the link over on the screen. Here it is. Okay, so I get this link, and I guess I can display images. So, all right. So this link comes in. If I click it, then I'm signed into the bulletin, and then. Oh, I guess I only had log out as the option right now. Alright. Well, so I guess we can take out the other options for now. And that link that you get is it's a single use link. So once it's used once, then you won't be able to log in again. If you try to use it again, you'll get an error message. So that's the current login system, which hopefully we're going to be changing that soon. Although it does work well, as long as some users do clear out their local storage often, so it doesn't work well for them, but for people who don't do that, it makes it really easy because you can basically you stay logged in for a year as long as you're not clearing anything out. Okay. I'm gonna empty this just so we can see our stuff again. Alright. So let me take out right now our other menu items. Depending on how much time we have and what we want to do with this, I would like to add in some menu items like profile or my account to allow users to customize their experience a little bit. But since we don't have anything like that right now, I'm just going to keep things clean in here and take them out. Which seems silly to have a menu like that for one item, but it was kind of always intended to have more. Just haven't really had time to come back to this project since it launched last year. Okay, so let's add in. Let me check the current version of this. So we want to add a printer icon and then kind of a grid icon and a search icon. So let's go. I wonder, we'll probably have to go to our icons to get the names. So material icons, there we go. Alright, so if you want material design style icons, this is definitely the place to go. Material.io/icons. You get all these icons here, and you can get them in several different formats. Right now we have already imported these icons, so we can use them in our project, but if I hadn't imported them, I like to grab the SVG code for them and just put it in line. So let's look for a print icon first. Alright, so here we have print, and we could see, we could grab the SVG, the ping, or we could pull it in as an icon font. We can pull it in, we can use different colors here. We're going to change the color to that green that we've been using, so that doesn't really matter. If we were to grab the SVG, doesn't matter. And by that I just mean, we can download the SVG and then open it up, copy and paste the code right there in line into our project. But for now I just wanted to make sure of the name, so we should be able to just use print icon. So let's grab our icon button and I'm gonna paste it. I'm gonna paste it in here. I'm hoping that this goes to the left of our current this more vert icon button. We'll see. Not sure. Let's see. For now, let's get rid of these. This will probably end up having. We may end up putting a link component either inside the button or wrapping the button in the link component. But for now, we just wanted to show up. So I'm assuming we can just do print. Since we already have color primary, it should be the right color. I'm going to save that and let's check it out. Oops. Print icon is not defined. Oop, I don't think we imported it up here. Where are we at? More vert icon. Actually, can we? There's got to be a better way to do this than importing all these icons separately, right? Oh well. Well, maybe we'll figure that out at some point. But you would think that you could just do something like this, right? And import from icons. Alright, so let's try it now that we're actually importing that first. Print icon. Great. Alright, awesome. And that worked just like we wanted it to. We now have the print icon there as well. Alright, it's time to do another 5-minute question and answer. We can have all our icons there. Probably doesn't need quite so much space in between. But that's something, that's a little thing that we can adjust later on. Sometimes if you try to adjust, at least for me in my experience, if I try to adjust those little things early on, then when I get more things on the page, I end up wanting to adjust them again, and it's better if I just hold off until I get like a clearer picture of the whole with more things on the page. Then I end up adjusting once instead of multiple times throughout. Okay, so let me go to my live chat, and I'm going to scroll up to the point where I left off and get through as much as I can in 5 minutes. Let me check the time. Yeah, I think we'll go with 3 Pomodoro sessions. So I know yesterday we didn't do quite as much coding as we normally do, so we'll make up for it today by putting in an extra session. And so we'll have a 5-minute question answer now, another 25 minutes of code, and then afterwards we'll have a long question answer session where I can get to everything that's left over after these 5 minutes. So let me bring up my timer. I don't know where I put it. I think I minimized it. I did. Alright, here we go. Okay, so left off. Okay, so James asks, how do I have to be, or okay, how skilled do I have to be to join these live streams? Actually, it doesn't. It really depends on kind of what you want. So we go over some things that are like a whole different range of skills. So sometimes we go over things that are more advanced. Sometimes we do things that aren't really that advanced. So depending on what we're working on for a particular stream, it may be more useful to you if you're at a lower skill level. Generally, I like to have a mix of different skill levels watching and in the live chat. And then that way the people who are really skilled can help me out, and can help the other people in the live chat out with any issues that they're having and help to explain. And I try to do my best to explain as I'm going along. So if I'm not explaining well, feel free to ask any questions. So I may not look at the live chat during the code session. So at one point when we were streaming, I tried to go through the live chat all the time, and it ended up that we didn't get a lot of code done at all. So that's why I've kind of separated them out. But I will get to your questions eventually. But I mean, if you, it kind of depends on if you want. If you want like a straight tutorial that really gets to the point, this is probably not the best place for that, because we're always working on something different, and it's not really methodical in how we teach things. So it's more just to show like, here's what my normal day is as a front-end developer. But I try to do my best to explain things, so you could get something out of it. Let's see. Sebastian says, with React 16, you can use class instead of class name, right? Okay, Melissa says yes. That's cool. I hadn't realized you could do that. I actually just read through some React 16 stuff before the stream today. It looks like there's a lot that changed behind the scenes that make it faster and smaller. So that's pretty awesome. Let's see. Oh, okay. James says, can you do a beginning code that lined up the first project in freeCodeCamp? Yeah, so let's see. Yeah, that one was the one. So I started to do that one on my own channel. So if you come in just on the freeCodeCamp channel, I've already done a few streams at that point, so you don't see like the startup. So check out, I think I have linked in the description of this video the link to my channel, my personal channel. So if you check that out and you go to the project that is, the title of the first video is Building a Website as Fast as I Can. which it ended up not being that fast, but initially because of the deadline it was going to be really fast, but we got some leeway there. So check that video out first. If it's still not, I don't remember exactly where I started out there, but if it still needs like even more introduction, I'm definitely open to going back maybe and kind of doing more of an introductory video on that. But yeah, check that one out. I do maybe 2 or 3 streams on my own channel, and then I switch over to freeCodeCamp. Okay, John Hansen says, I had a hard time getting modals to work as I would like in React, even with React Router. Looking forward to reworking modals in React 16. Awesome. Yeah, so John, have you been using a framework like MaterialUI or trying to do modals from scratch? Because I think something like a framework, it does make it pretty easy. Let me mark down where I'm leaving off at, and we'll do one more session of coding. Alright, and I just saw right when I was marking down the time, so Anna says, hey, what are you building? Hey Anna, how's it going? We are working on a React project with GraphQL. We're using Apollo to bring in stuff from GraphQL, and we're styling it today with the latest version of MaterialUI. Okay. Alright, so alright, let's throw in those 2 icons quickly, since we know how to do it and it'll work. So we just need to get the names of those icons. So we want a grid, not like that. What did we do? Layout. Let's see if it's layout. Actually, let me I'm going to inspect the current site that we're redoing and see if I use the material icon. Material icon, grid button. What did we call it though? Quilt. Is it quilt? Huh, wow, it is called view quilt. Wow. I would not have guessed that. Okay, so let's do the quilt. And I'm just gonna, no, I'm not gonna put it in twice now. I'll get an error. So let's do view quilt. And down here, let's grab this, and I'm going to copy it twice in here since we know we're going to do another one. And for this one, we want the view quilt, and I'll save that. And then finally we want the search. I'm almost positive search is just going to be search, so let's just try that out before we look it up. Search. Oops. And we'll go up to the top. Okay. All right, let's check it out. Awesome. So we have our icons here. Great. Cool. All right, so let's move on and try to put the logo up in this corner. I think, so by default, this is going to be open. So on a large screen, let's see at what point it, okay, so we actually don't have it. We're going to have to change this so that it's not always open, because on a mobile, that just doesn't give us enough room. But, so we may be able to display the logo on mobile. I'm okay actually with not, like, you know, let's say this is closed, we go to a small screen and we just have something like this. Of course we'd want this text to be over here, but I'm okay with not having the logo appear immediately, and instead it appears when you click this. Oops, and it looks like we'll need to change the color of this as well. I'd forgotten about that icon. There should be a hamburger menu icon here, but it's white. So let's change that right now before we forget. So anyway, I think a logo right here will work. Let's change that color though. So if we go down, we got our icon button. Instead of contrast, we want to give it the color primary, which if you remember from before, we set that primary color as our green. So now, yep, there we go. So now we have that icon. Awesome. Alright, so let's check out this sidebar component and see if there's some way to put a logo up here already built in. If not, you know, we'll have to make it work. So, whoops, where's my documentation? I don't think we'll need these icons anymore. So, is it a drawer? Let's see what we call that component. Yeah, okay, it is a drawer. Using a persistent drawer. Awesome. Okay, so I don't see, yeah, I don't see any example with something up here. Let's check out the drawer API and see if there's anything that we could use. Okay, so I don't see anything. So let's look in here and see if we can figure something out. So classes drawer header. Okay, so here's our drawer header. That's where we would want to put it. So far we do have an icon button here. We do want to keep that. So let's try to put in an image into here. And we need to bring in, I don't think we have a folder yet for images. So for now, I'm going to grab the image address from another site, that Resource Center site. So eventually we'll want to actually bring in the image, but for now this will let us test it out quickly. So there may, let's see, is there an image? I don't know if there's an image component built into media, built into MaterialUI. Alright, I don't see one, so we'll just go with a regular image. Alright, so this at least will give us something to work with for now. Let's just see what it looks like. I don't need that right now. There we go. Okay. So we have the image in there. Right now it's way too big and it's covering up our icon to close this. So definitely needs some work. We can do a little bit of that right here in DevTools. So there we go. So make this a bit smaller, and let's work on DevTools. Let's see where our sidebar is. There we go. Okay, so let's give this, let's see if we could do it with 100%. So that's a little bit better. We want to give it, let's give it a margin top of 16 pixels. Let's increase it a bit. I want to see where that button went to. Alright, interesting. So maybe if we switch the order, it may work out a little better for us with that button. I mean, we could try. Let's try. I'd rather not mess with this button as much because everything's set from within the MaterialUI theme for that. So instead, let's try to position this in a way that will allow this button to do its thing normally. So what I'm thinking is if we go position, let's do something like this. Well, now it's messing up everything. I didn't think about these ones down here. Alright, so that might not be an option. We'll keep that in mind though, but then we'd have to position these down further, so for now it's not really an option. Let's see if we do. If you can use flex 1. Let's see what it does for us. No, nothing. Yeah, let me switch the order then. Oops, and I did not add my styles onto there. So good thing we didn't have too much going on. Alright, so that'll shrink it down. Okay, so this is giving us something a little bit more like what I wanted. At least this button's visible and it's in the right spot. I'm guessing what we'll probably want is for this to be up a little bit further so we don't have to move the logo down quite so far. Yeah. I wonder if we... I want to check the live chat quickly as well to see if anyone has any DevTools chassis image tag before the button tag. Okay, cool. Just want to see if anyone had any thoughts on this. Okay. Alright, so where's our image? Let's see. I want to check before I start messing with this button too much. I want to check the API for the button and see what we can do through the API. Otherwise, we'll just have to override some stuff, which is okay. So where's our button? There we go. All right. Okay, so we can, but you know, I don't want to override all the buttons, so I'm not going to do it like this. We'll just do it inline on that particular button. So let's try some things out here in DevTools. Let me check my time. Okay. Yeah, we'll try some things out in DevTools, see what we can do. Let's see. Actually, position absolute might not be, oops, might not be bad for this. We can just put a margin on the image. So what do we do before 16? Yeah, we're definitely gonna need it to be a bit more than that. Okay. So we'll have that. We'll see how it looks. I'm actually not, now that I see this, I don't like all that space on the top, but we'll give it a shot for now. And let's see, why do we have all that space? Alright, anyway, let's go top 8 pixels. Interesting. I really don't like that. What do you all think? I'm not I'm not a fan of this. It does not look good to me. Oh, okay. You know what? Yeah, if you're checking this out through ngrok, you won't see any of this right now because I'm just doing this in DevTools. Yeah, so that's not. Let's see. I guess the alternative is to not. Potentially, we don't have to give users the option to close this. Currently, there is no option to close this on the version that's live right now. I'm usually all for giving users as many options as possible, but in this case, it's something that the users can't do now, and I haven't had any requests for it. So, and on mobile, it would open, and then you would simply have to click outside of it to get it to close. So, you know, you'd hit the icon for it to open. So, how about, I'd say for now, let's just take this out. Or we could have even commented out just so that we don't forget that it's there. Maybe we'll comment it out and then we'll come back to it later on if we have time, because I think that falls into the category of something that would be a nice feature, but it's certainly not a necessary feature. And especially since I've never had a request from a user to be able to do this. I think probably it's not necessarily worth the time to get this to work right now. Yeah, so let's do that. So we're going to do comments. How do we do comments in React? Like this. Yep, there we go. Alright, there's not some better way to do comments in React, right? Am I? I don't want to be like missing. Let's do this so we don't take up quite as much space. There we go. Alright, so as far as I know, that's the only way to do comments in React. Oops. Alright, so let's save that. We'll probably want to comment out the chevron left up top here. Otherwise, it'll probably tell us somewhere that we've imported this and we're not using it. Oh, I gotta do the hard reload. I don't know what's going on with this. Okay, so now on our image, let's just add to this, to these styles, and let's do a logo styles, and we can put width 100%. Whoops, forgot this is an object, not normal CSS. With 100%, and let's add a margin. Alright, we'll do padding all the way around. We'll give it 8 pixels. See how that looks. But I think 8 pixels will look alright. We might want a little bit more, maybe on the top. We'll see. Oops. And I forgot my comma, and I forgot to tie it into our component down here. So let's find our image down here. I think I passed it up, right? There we go. Let's go with style. And what do we call that? Logo. So styles.logo. We did pull that into styles, right? I'm gonna find another spot where I use that. style equals. We only using it in one place. Alright, well, we can see if it'll work here. Nope, it didn't. What do we call this? I know we're using this somewhere, right? Classes flex. Oh, okay. This one's classes. Is that really what? Alright, let's see if this works. Classes.logo. Wait a second. What am I doing wrong? Class name class. That's it. Thank you, Sebastian. Class name classes. Okay. On my React Native project, I'm doing everything with the style tag. So I'm saying style, and I'm bringing in styles dot whatever. So that's what I kept trying to do. I don't have it set up like that for this. Okay. Not bad. Maybe. Oh yeah, like that. Maybe. No, that didn't give it. Let's give. Actually, do we have, if this sidebar has a fixed width, which it does, alright, let's try to make this 250. So 250, let's do oops. Let's try 234 pixels and 8 auto. Okay, that works. It accomplishes basically the same thing. So here's so basically what I did, instead of doing with 100%, which was not letting us get our margins the way we wanted, since this has a fixed width, the sidebar has a fixed width of 250 pixels, what we wanted was 8 pixels on each side. So we just made the logo 234 pixels, which gave us that extra 16 for each side. And then we had 8 pixels on the top and the bottom, and then for right and left we set it to auto, which splits it equally. So that's how we got our positioning here. So now we'll go back over and change this in the component. So we'll go back up to where we set our logo styles. So we want 234 pixels and 8 pixels auto. Okay. Oops. Actually, that's, we're not getting our 8 pixels on the top and the bottom. What just happened there? Oh, I had switched it to margins. Let's see if that makes a difference. Yep, it does. Okay, great. Alright, not bad. And my timer went off, so it was just in time. We got that done. So we have our whole top portion pretty much done. I'd like to make a few little changes here and there, really minor things. So next up we'll be getting the rest of the sidebar looking like it's supposed to. And then we'll move on to building out some of the views. Okay. So let me... Actually, I'm going to commit this now because I've been forgetting to commit and later on. So I don't want anybody who wants to maybe work on this to have, you know, the older version of the code. So let's check our status, see what's changed. Okay, this looks good. These are the things that we did actually change. So let's go git commit. We're going to add the AM flag, which means add. So we're going to add all those files. Then we're also going to put in a commit message at the same time in line with our command. So let's say add icons and logo to navs. Okay, that works. And then we're going to type git push origin master to push that up to GitHub. It's going to do all its auto formatting checks and everything. And wait, did it do all the formatting? That was weird. For some reason it wasn't automatically running that, so I'm not sure what's going on with that. So I guess I'll do another commit. Okay. Yeah, it didn't do the normal linting. Alright, so that's all up in the GitHub repo, so everything that we've done is available now. The link to the repo is in the description. So now I'm going to scroll back up to where I left off in the live chat. If you can't stick around for the live chat, thank you so much for watching. I'll be back tomorrow sometime around 2 p.m. Eastern Time. But if you can stick around, definitely, I hope you can, and help out with answering questions or asking some of your questions. I am going to try to get through all the questions. I have an appointment at 5, so I probably can. I'm probably safe to go at least a half hour with questions, and so we'll see. Hopefully, I can get through everything. I'm normally able to. Okay. Let's see. Alright, James says he just seems to want to impress someone and not here to help out. What are these projects based upon anyway? I'm not sure. Is James might be talking about me. I don't see him talking about anybody else. So anyway, yeah, James, I don't know. So I'm not sure how much you've seen, but it's actually probably the opposite. I don't know that I impress that many people with this. I frequently mess up and make mistakes. That's kind of the whole point, is for people to see someone who is employed full-time as a front-end developer making a lot of mistakes and trying to work through it. So yeah, so if I was out to impress, I would not live stream. I would record and edit out all of my mistakes. Usually the most impressive thing that happens in the stream are the pull requests that you all submit. It makes the projects so much better than I ever could have made them. And the projects are actually based upon my work projects. So I'm currently at my job, and I work on whatever my boss says I need to work on. So that's why we have a few projects going on at once, and sometimes we switch projects depending on what's needed. So that's what it's based on. The styling is based on the style guide for the university that I work at. So I do have quite a bit of freedom in the tools that I use, but there are some things that I can't change. So one of it being, we've set the styles, so I kind of have to stick with that. I've some leeway with that, but we couldn't just completely change and go with like an entirely different philosophy on design. Let's see. James says, do you know skills enough to explain to people how to address their issues that we have with coding? I've never seen a coding channel in a fashion such as this. Can you help us out? I can definitely try to help you out. So if you have any questions, put them in the live chat. And you can also ask me questions on other social media things. So if you send me something on Twitter, so my Twitter's linked in the description as well, or really anything. I've got messages on LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, through email. Any of those, I'll try to get back to you as soon as I can. I can't always get back right away because I have a lot going on. I have 4 kids and my job, and I'm taking a Udacity Nano degree course. So I can't respond immediately, but I do always try to get back to everyone eventually with some help, or at least some helpful links. As in regards to whether I have enough skills to explain to people, I don't really know. That's why I say in the live chat, anybody who, if you can stick around for the live chat, even if you're an expert and don't have questions, I definitely appreciate y'all sticking around and helping to answer questions, because in this field, even if I were an expert at something, I can't be an expert at everything. So there are always going to be questions about things that I've never used before. So when that happens, I'm fine with saying, hey, I don't really know. Does anybody else have any input? So in terms of my skills, I don't know. You all can tell me. I have had a lot of positive feedback though, that people say that I have helped out. Certainly in regard to someone who's just starting out, I'm pretty confident in my CSS, my HTML skills. In terms of React, I'm still going through and learning things. I'm much better than I was even 6 months ago. So this show, we're kind of all learning together and helping each other out. So I'll do my best to give advice when I can, but then also let you all know whenever I'm probably not the best resource. So take what I say for what it is. Let's see. Okay, Paul says, in response to James, says he's far ahead, not at the beginning level. You can Google on MaterialUI, and he's showing us how to style using MaterialUI components. Yeah, so this particular stream was not necessarily beginner level. So you probably would have had to have some knowledge of how React works and maybe a little bit about MaterialUI. So this particular stream, maybe not really good for beginners. Maybe some of the later on we were just doing some basic, positioning stuff with CSS. It would be. Project 3 has some stuff that it's not React based. It's more like just plain HTML and CSS. We are dealing some with some C# templates, but I'm going to do some things with Project 3 to make it a lot more beginner friendly, especially for beginners to submit pull requests. So I've had some other stuff that I had to work on when I'm not streaming, so I haven't been able to get that ready yet. But hopefully I'll be finished up with some updates I need to make to that Project 1 that we had done. And when I'm done with that, maybe it'll free up a little bit more time for me, and I can get that going. So as we go back into Project 3 from time to time, that's probably the best place for beginners right now. Okay. James says, sorry for beating you up, but I'm wanting to get my point across. Oh, don't worry about it. Yeah, definitely. Any questions or comments or anything, I definitely welcome, even if it's criticism, because I want to make these streams, as good as they can be for you all. So don't feel bad about, any comments. Let's see. James says, well, think of us. Let's see, he didn't say that when he first started making videos about coding. Okay, I'm not sure what he said at that time, or what I said at that time. So let's see. Okay, Sebastian says, he'll answer your question once he finishes. Yeah, so yeah, so if I try to mention from time to time, but if you come into the stream in the middle of a session, just to let you all know, I'm not ignoring the live chat, so I do get to the questions, but I have to space it out. Otherwise, I just can't get coding done if I'm constantly going back and forth from questions to code. So I've tried doing it like that, and the streams end up being really long, and we don't really get that much done. So we kind of split out the question and answer session from that. But we still do get to the questions. Let's see. Paul says, it's a series, just a demo of his talent on advanced topics. So thank you for that, Paul, but I kind of going with what I said before. I don't know that this is a demo of my talent. Yeah, so the point is, like, and I know I've said this before, but for anybody who's new that's watching, there are so many great people that are doing tutorials, like pre-recorded tutorial videos, and they're awesome. But the thing that I thought might be helpful that I could help with, I didn't really think I could compete with the people that are already doing great tutorials, but I thought at least I could help new developers out by showing them what it's like for me as a full-time developer and just how many mistakes I make and how hard it is to work through. Because, sorry, I just realized I left my fan on, so I apologize if the fan was kind of annoying to anybody. I just turned it off. So anyway, I just thought it might be helpful for people to see, like, when you see the coding videos that are tutorials, it seems like the people doing it are awesome. They don't make any mistakes, right? Which is fine for those videos because you want to get to the point and you want to teach people, so you don't want to leave in all mistakes. But I thought it might be helpful for people to see that, you know, even someone who does have a full-time job as a programmer still makes those mistakes. Sometimes really silly mistakes. I mean, if you've watched previous streams, you know sometimes I just make, you know, ridiculous mistakes and it takes me forever to figure it out. So anyway, that's what I thought I brought to it. So it's not really me demonstrating my skills or anything like that. If I do something awesome on the live stream, then that's great. That's really cool. But I also think it's really cool when I mess something up on the live stream, and that can be more helpful than me doing it right. Because, you know, then you'll see the mistakes that I make, and, you know, you're kind of ahead of the game. You won't make those same mistakes because you've already seen me do it, and we've worked through it together. I need to come up with like a really brief way to say that and just say it at the beginning of all the shows and maybe put it in the description, because I think I say that frequently, and maybe I'll like write it out and condense it as much as I can. Let's see. Carlos says the comma issue should be caught by the linter. Do you have one set? Well, I thought I had it set on commit to lint, but for some reason it wasn't working right. So, but anyway, yeah, what I need to set things up so that it automatically does it as I'm typing. Okay, cool. So James says, I'm on my first project in freeCodeCamp. So awesome, James. That's great starting out. So yeah, so if you have any questions about any of the freeCodeCamp stuff, let us know here in the live chat, or like I said, you know, on some other form of social media. I'd be happy to help out if I can. Let's see. James says, can you build a dating website? I would like to learn about that. Is that hard work? Yeah, so, well, like I mentioned before, since I'm doing these streams from work, I need to work on my work project. So I work for a university, so I'm not going to be working on a dating website. But potentially some of the things that we work on here could be used for other projects. So I know some people have taken some of our previous projects, cloned the repo, and then changed things to make it work for their use case. So that's possible too. You could definitely build a website like that with React. I don't know in terms of like the back end and the database. We don't get into databases very much at all on this stream, although we might in the future. So there's definitely more to it than would be in this stream, but you know, in terms of all the front end, you know, you could definitely learn enough to build out a front end for something like that. Sebastian says, so we were talking about this drop-down menu and saying, you know, right now it really only has one option, and so Sebastian says it's kind of pointless. Why not just have a logout button? And you're right, Sebastian. So basically there were two reasons why I made it like this initially. One is I intended to have more options there, and I just never had time to put them in. Also, I wasn't sure what the proper button is for logout that's kind of universally known. So one of the requirements was this had to work for people who are not really that familiar with computers. So I don't know. I mean, to be honest with you, now that I think about it, would people really know that this was a menu? So if anyone has any ideas for an icon that would mean logout, we can go with that. But I really would like to have some other options here, if we could, to give users, you know, some some customization. So we'll see. Hopefully, for now I'm going to leave it in just because I hope to put more options here. But if we get closer to the time when this is going to launch and we still don't have options, then maybe we'll swap in some icon and we'll just put a tooltip over it so that people will know what it does. Let's see. Check. All right, James says, does anybody have the heart to help me with advice as a developer? I think going to freeCodeCamp is already a great kind of first step. So if you work through the freeCodeCamp stuff and try to supplement that with maybe YouTube videos, not necessarily these streams, but there's a lot of other great streams on freeCodeCamp and other YouTube channels. So like on this channel, like Bo's JavaScript videos are great like intro to different things in JavaScript. So when you get to that part in freeCodeCamp, check those videos out. Also, for like CSS stuff, Dev Tips is a really good YouTube channel that I've gone to for a lot of more like design and CSS things. For some more JavaScript stuff and build tools and things like that, Learn Code Academy is a great JavaScript or a great YouTube channel that I've used before. And then there's a lot of different types of videos on the freeCodeCamp channel too. So if you check out some of the playlists, there's just a huge variety of content. So I'm the only one that does like the day-to-day live streaming kind of thing. But there's a lot of other really talented people that do great tutorial videos and things. So definitely check those out. If you're more the type of person that likes to learn by reading, there's a book series. It's called You Don't Know JS, and that's actually available for free on GitHub, so you can just read it online. So check that out. That's really good. And my only other advice, if you're new, is like just keep working through it. You're definitely gonna have some times, I know I did, where it just seems like I'm working on this problem and I just can't get through it. But just don't give up, keep on working, and once you finally get through that problem, you're going to feel great, and you're always going to look back at where you were at a few months ago and just realize like, wow, I've come so far, and that's a pretty awesome feeling. So for me at least, it's definitely worth it, to just keep going and keep trying to push through, and it's great if you have other people around. So like this live chat is, we form kind of a little community here. So, if you need some help, or you just need somebody to say like, hey, keep going for it, you can do it. It's kind of cool to have a little community. So it doesn't have to be this community for the live chat. If you have some other people in your area you can meet with, that would be amazing too. But if anyone else has any advice, please put it in the live chat. And I'm sure some of you probably already have. I just haven't got to it yet. Let's see. Okay, Anna asks if I've ever used Vue.js and is it better than React? I have never used Vue.js, but I know some really good developers. I don't mean know personally, I mean like just through Twitter and stuff. So I know some really good developers who love Vue.js and have used both Vue and React. So I don't really know. Vue seems really promising, and I think maybe one day I'd like to try it out. I'm just really trying to get good with React at this point, so I don't want to branch out right now. I mean, you know how it is. You can know a little bit about a lot of things, or you can specialize and get really good at one thing. So I'm kind of in specialization mode right now. But if I get to the point where I feel kind of confident and want to branch out a bit, I think I will definitely try Vue. But until I try it, I don't know that I really would have a great opinion on whether it's better than React. I mean, I'm happy with React so far. I really like it. But, there's also a lot of people that like Vue, so I'm sure it's good too. Let's see. Samson says the hover menu completely hides the button. Yeah, it does. We could probably work on that if we do decide to keep the hover menu. I mean, I guess it doesn't really matter that it hides the button because you don't really need to click the button again, but it might not be quite as weird if we push it down a bit, and we could probably do that. This loading thing is bothering me, so I'm going to refresh it. Let's see. Eric says React.js is the future. I mean, it definitely keeps growing, so at least for the foreseeable future, I don't think it's going anywhere anytime soon. John Hansen says, I'm a from scratch type of person. I used to be all about like trying to do things from scratch, but I definitely appreciate some boilerplate now when I got to get a project done quickly. That really helps. But it is definitely good to know how to do everything from scratch and really understand, what goes into, setting things up. Eric asks, has Atom gotten really buggy for you? Was thinking about switching back to Visual Studio Code, but want to stick with Atom. Actually, Atom has gotten a little bit buggy. So on this computer, it's fine, but on my laptop, it's been really buggy lately. I don't understand why. I have the same plugins on both, for the most part, using the same version. So I don't know. I haven't really dug into the problem yet to see what's going on. Maybe I just have some outdated plugin that I need to get rid of. But yeah, I'm not quite ready to switch completely to Visual Studio Code, but I have been using it some. So we'll see. Right now I'm still with Atom. Let's see. All right, I'm just going to try. I think I'm going to skip some of the comments to make sure I can get to all the questions. So, okay, there's some discussion about Atom here. Let's see. Let's see. Kim says normal HTML style comment works in JSX. Okay, cool. Let's see. Okay, cool. Inna says thank you. It is a pretty useful stream. Awesome. Thanks for saying that. I'm glad it's useful to you. Oh, okay. Sebastian said there's another live stream scheduled for freeCodeCamp, a live workshop basics of JavaScript and ES6 syntax. When is it scheduled? I'm not cutting into it, right? I was trying to look for. I didn't get a notification about it yet, so hopefully it's not. I'm not taking up their time. Kiyoshi says, what tips would you recommend a junior developer interested in getting a job in React? So I would say build things with React. I mean, that sounds straightforward, I know, but definitely build things with React, have it in GitHub. If you're not already on GitHub, get a GitHub profile and put code in there. Just get ideas for different React projects. So just think about something like an app or something that you think would be useful and make it. Get ideas from your friends and family, and just do it. So if you have the time, like the free time to be able to do it, that's great. If you need to work and actually make money, try to get some clients and make things in React. Even make things that don't necessarily need to be in React, but just do it in React for the practice. Employers will want to see that you can actually do the work, so they'll want to look at GitHub. They'll want to see demos of what you can do. So that would be my biggest thing. The other thing would be if you can network. So either online, so like on your social media accounts, talk about being a developer. Talk about how much you like being a developer. Try to comment in a helpful way to other developers, especially on Twitter. Twitter seems to be pretty big for for developers. So because employers will look at that, right? If they see and they're really interested in you, they'll check your social media stuff. So if your social media is full of things entirely unrelated to development, they might think you don't really care about it. Or if it's full of a lot of negative things about how much you hate, this or that about JavaScript or something, then they might think you're too negative about it. So just keep that in mind, that anything that you put online that's public, your employer would potentially see. So just start kind of working on building up, kind of your online presence as being someone who is positive and excited about being a developer and helping other developers. So that's my my advice to you. I'm sure there's a lot of other things that you could do, but for me, I know when I've been involved in the hiring process for developers, and I immediately want to look at their GitHub repo and look at projects that they've worked on and check that out. And then if I'm interested, I will check out their social media. And I'm more interested in that than their resume. So, I mean, I do look at the resume, but if someone has an amazing resume, but they don't include a link to GitHub and I can't find any of their code anywhere, I'm not really interested. Maybe if no one else applies, I would reach out to them, but if there are other people with a less impressive resume, but I actually see their stuff on GitHub and it's good, I'm much more likely to want to interview that person. Various says, which Udacity Nano degree are you taking? I'm taking the React Nano degree. So there are 3 projects for that Nano degree. I'm done with the first 2. I just need to do the last one, which is React Native app. And then hopefully, if I do the last one and it works and everything, then I'll have my Nano degree. So I'm hoping to have all that done by the end of this month. And when I get done with my last project, I'll show you all in the live stream if you want, maybe during like one of the question and answer sessions. I'll give you a little preview of it. Let's see. Ashish says, in 2017, what should I learn to be a full stack developer? I am fluent in front end design, HTML, CSS, Bootstrap, JavaScript. What should I learn to become a full stack developer? Vulexpert says Node.js. Yeah, for sure. I recommend Node.js. It'll probably be easier for you to learn Node since you already know JavaScript than to switch to a completely different language. So it kind of depends, like, really on what you want to work with. But if you don't have any specific company or technology you want to work with, then I'd go with Node. That'll probably be the easiest transition. Ashish also asked about the database. Volexpert recommends MongoDB. It's popular with Node. Yeah, I've heard great things about MongoDB. There are some really cool things people are doing with Couch and PouchDB, so check that out. I've seen some cool demos at conferences with that. It couldn't hurt to learn a little bit about SQL-based databases, because you're likely to end up at a company that uses SQL, because it's definitely used more often than NoSQL stuff. So I'd try to be familiar with both types. But if you want to specialize, like I said, Mongo does seem to be really popular with Node. Various says, don't wait to be an expert to code, start now. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, the only way you get better is to actually code. Just work your way through it. Let's see. Oh, okay, so Blake has a suggestion for the logout icon. Let's check it out. material icons, and what was that called? Exit to app. Okay, we'll see. What do you all think? Does this icon, if you saw this icon, would you think it was a logout icon? Let me know. Like I said, we can put a tooltip over it as well. So if users are unsure what it means, we can have it there. I don't want people to accidentally log out. And now that I think about it, that was another reason why I did do it like this. So I didn't want users to accidentally log out. So I made it that you had to click twice to log out, because one of the big selling points of when I presented this, I did some workshops to teach people how to use this when it first launched. And one of the big things was, hey, you don't have to worry about a password. You don't even have to log in very often. You log in once and you're logged in for a whole year. And people like that. So I didn't want it to be easy to log out, because there really would be no reason for someone to want to log out unless they were on a public computer and didn't want to stay logged in. So anyway, that's another thing to consider that I just didn't remember from when we were talking about it before. Let's see. Sebastian said, or Blake says, or lock open. Let's see what that is. Lock open. Yeah, I'm not so sure. To me, this wouldn't. I don't know that I think of logout when I see this, but maybe I'm wrong about that. Let me know what you all think. Peter says, hey, I hate this loading thing on my screen. Do something about it. That must have been before I got rid of it as well. Yeah, I couldn't take the loading thing either. Okay. Okay, good. Sebastian said the stream doesn't start for 50 minutes, and looks like he said it less than 10 minutes ago. All right, so we'll be good. We'll be done by then. Oh, that's a good idea. Okay, cool. So, okay, Sebastian said, what about a simple logout button or power settings for material? Okay, so it looks like we have some options. We'll check out some more buttons. Not right now, because I'm going to have to leave in a few minutes. But, all right, we'll look at some more of these icons and see which one will be appropriate. Because Blake has a great idea here to say, possibly after clicking it, have a prompt reading, are you sure you want to log out? I like that. I think that makes more sense than what I was doing with making users click twice. Yeah, that makes a lot more sense. So we'll just have a little dialogue come up that says that. So anyway, so I really like that idea. And yeah, so we'll do that. This is actually starting to look not bad here. Got some real icons. I mean, they don't work yet. It doesn't do anything when you click on them, but it looks okay. All right, cool. I got through everything in the live chat. So if I happen to miss your question, I'm really sorry. I try to get through everything. But if I did miss your question, just put it in the comments to this video, or send me a message on some social media thing, and I'll try to get back to you as soon as I can. Let's see. I think that's it. Yeah, I'll be back tomorrow sometime around 2 p.m. And until then, have a great day.